Hey guys, it's Joy again. Make sure you are subscribing to Heritage Hip Hop on all social media platforms, especially YouTube. Yes.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Karev from Heritage Hip Hop, and you are used to music and musical content, but we're much more than that. And we have somebody who represents hip hop in another way. Please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Joy from Be The Difference Clothing. I am a clothing / inspirational company.
Okay, and that's something that we sorely and surely are lacking in today's society. We're lacking inspiration. We're over absorbent and individualized. So let's talk about it. I've been doing some research on your company since we spoke the second time. And I want to get into why you started what you do and the impact that it has done. So tell us, how did Be The Difference LLC start?
So basically, I used to manage a Christian rapper, and once that fizzled out, I was like, what am I supposed to do? So I ended up going to the gym 7 days a week, and I just had to admit on Facebook that after the gym, I usually go and have Snickers bars, ice cream, all of that good stuff. And so I just said, I'm sorry I have to admit this, but I work hard, snack harder. I know I'm not the only one. And then my cousin was like, you should make a t-shirt. And I was like, okay. I already knew how to make, to start up a business and all of the intricacies that had to go into making a business. So I just said, okay, I will do that. And that's pretty much how the company started.
Okay. Now, I'm going to take this two different ways. Because first we're going to start with the clothing. Then we're going to go with the message.
Okay.
Clothes historically have always been the shield that you wear to project an idea or even your nationality. Because people knew nations by how they dressed. Why is clothing for you such a useful, interesting market to give your message in?
Well, at the time, I noticed, we're talking about like 2013, 14. I noticed that a lot of people were wearing clothing that had, t-shirts especially, that had like AK-47s and guns and all of these negative things on there. And so what I realized is that the more we absorb imagery is the more we become that. Now, I'm not saying that people are violent, but if you continue to be fed violence, you will become that, or you will be like quick to like pick up a gun, even though you may not be a violent person. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do that same thing and flip it, because whatever was intended for our bad, I want to turn it into our good. And that's why I said I'm gonna do not only just this one little funny t-shirt, but I'm gonna turn it into something more. And that led to this t-shirt that I'm wearing now. And that basically is my way of speaking about addiction in its whole entirety, and something that we should become aware of, that we need to talk about more, that we need to understand the stigmas, that we need to know that it's everybody. It happens to a lot more people than you think, a lot more families than you think. No matter how perfect you think these family structures are, there's always one or two that are suffering from some form of addiction, and it's not always from substance abuse. So that's another thing that I think we all need to be aware of, is just not substance abuse.
The mark of clothing has usually been in American society what fits and what doesn't. And then if you look at that on a metaphysical level or a higher level, it's not how the clothes fit, it's where it's worn and how it's worn that can define the look or the message a person gives off with their body language besides their vocal language. How does your shirts capture the body language to give a bigger message?
I mean, the images are pretty big. I think the words alone can fit the body, because we do tank tops, we do t-shirts. All of the t-shirts, ironically, a lot of people don't necessarily like fitted t-shirts, because I used to do V-necks, I used to do like the female cut fit, but people still gravitated more towards the unisex. So once I noticed that, I was like, okay, people don't really necessarily wear t-shirts for like the fit, but they just wear them because they like what the message says. So I decided to make sure that my t-shirts had two things. One, durability, and two, that the colors would capture something for people. And when you mentioned metaphysical, I was like, okay, now you understand part of where I got some of my color choices from.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a teacher by trade, so we study what colors do to the human brain and the human conscience. Like, we know, don't have a room too bright because it's overstimulated, and don't have a room too dark because then you draw the energy out of the person and it's a blah type feeling. So when you have certain colors, vibrancy can give an emotion and a feeling that can make a person become aware. And awareness is what your t-shirt company is about. There are certain messages that your shirts have that are very, let's just put it, impactful individually and socially. What was one of the most impactful shirts that you made, and how did you see the impact from it?
A lot of people like hard work pays off. And the funny thing about that t-shirt, you and I may think that hard work pays off is just simple. It just means what it says. But to another person who I met a while ago, when they saw that t-shirt, she actually cried. And I was like, why are you crying? And she's like, I could never buy that t-shirt. I was like, well, why not? And she then explained to me that her husband works so hard all of his life and he still never ever gets to get by. It's always like you work hard and then something comes up and then you can't. So she's like, that's why to her that shirt never really meant anything to her. But it was impactful because it honestly brought out an emotion that she needed to carry out. So at the end of the day, she liked the shirt but just didn't believe in the message. And I was like, I want to turn that around and make sure you know that it is important and that regardless of how much hard work he does, it always ends up showing off. It always ends up showing off. It always ends up yielding some type of fruit. It may not be in the same fashion that she was looking for monetarily, but maybe they get to enjoy each other more because he may not be working as often or whatever the case. And then other people like Follow Your Dreams. People love that one. People love Honesty Equals Freedom. There's a lot of different variations. Depending on the person is when you'll know, or the group that I'm in, that's when you'll know what shirt really resonates more to a person.
So what shirt resonated with you?
Me, this one.
Addiction Kills the Family.
Addiction Kills the
I
Family.
was reading on the website about a trip that you took and you saw somebody kind of strung out. And it made you think internally. Funniest thing, I saw the same thing today when I left work. My man was holding on to a stop sign and he was like leaning back horribly, and his eyes were all white, like he was done. And the thing that makes me angry is down the street from my school and up the street, down the street, up the corner from my school and down the street from another school, 2 schools actually. And I'm like, this is what we show our children. And while some people think it's funny, and some people shake their head and go, that's a shame, you actually took the inspiration from that to not be shameful, but to be honorful. How did the inspiration hit you, and where did it come from?
It just came from just looking at her, and I said, I don't want to be just another person just driving by, because like you said, all of those emotions that we feel, like we feel bad for the situation, and then you just assume that somebody's helping. But like I said, I have to do my part, and I'm not assuming anything. So I'm not like a vocal person, but I know I can write. And so that's why I put Addiction Kills the Family, and there's a bear claw just ripping it apart. And I did a photo shoot, and I represented all types of people, African American, Hispanic. I wanted to get the older population, but they couldn't make it to the shoot. But I definitely enjoyed the fact that there was a child in there, because that is the person, or those are the people who get affected most by these addictions. And it's not just about substance abuse. You have people who are addicted to work, and you have people who are addicted to their telephones. You have people addicted to porn. There's all types of things. I just say, if anything could possibly take away family time, then that could be an addiction. And just to think about it. Think about it and start working on that. And you said something about distractions earlier. And I feel like we are overly distracted. And a lot of it is because we watch too much TV. And we don't get a chance to get to know who we are. We don't get a chance to like see who is right in front of us. You know what I mean? If you don't know who you are, then you're never going to understand your potential and the potentials that you have, the unlimited potentials that you have. So I recommend everybody just turn off your TV for maybe a week or so and see how different and how the way you look at society and the world, how that actually changes. And you'll notice more. You'll be awake.